Good evening, and welcome to my speech. Many of us will agree that the most important part of a child's life is getting a high-quality education, both in the classroom and outside of it. We have all heard the expression that the children are our future, and this is absolutely the truth. It is essential for our children to have the necessary knowledge and skills to survive after high school. Common Core is a systematic way of learning that does not allow for flexibility in learning. I am a trainer at my job, and as a trainer, it is important to understand that all people learn differently and at different speeds. How can we possibly expect our children to all learn at the same pace and understand things the same way? Let us first take a look at the history of Common Core. Common Core was first created in 2009 and was quickly implemented in schools in 2010. The idea for this new way of education was based on a series of international assessment results. Basically, these changes were based on results from other country tests: Japan, Singapore, and even Canada. Common Core was developed by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers. These two groups are made up of politicians, not educators. They claim that Common Core was introduced to have a consistent set of guidelines for all students that would allow teachers to see who understood the material. However, the implementation of Common Core just happened to also allow states to implement the State Longitudinal Data System. This is a database that collects personal information not only on the student, but their parents, their households. Information stored in this data set are ages, gender, annual income, education levels. Now that we have some of the background information, let's take a closer look at some information behind the Common Core inception itself. According to the State Standards Institute, Common Core was supposed to help prepare students for entry-level positions of employment and freshman-level college courses, depending on which path the students take. The problem with this idea is that there were no teachers, school superintendents, or actual governors involved in the creation of the Common Core standards. The standards ignored the following federal laws that were already in place: the General Education Provisions Act, the Department of Education Act, and the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. These laws were in place to prohibit the Department of Education from enforcing any direction, supervision, textbook selection, or control of the administration of curriculum at the federal level. Each state and each school board had a choice to determine what is the best way to present information and teach subject matter to the children in their community. That is until these standards were put into effect. After Common Core standards were implemented, the federal government had the authority over what schools taught at a local level. The governors from each state signed on to adopt Common Core standards because they received waivers for other programs from their state, such as No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top waivers. Both of these waivers offer more funding to states that have students participating in certain programs and meeting social requirements. Each year, the governors of each state are invited to a luncheon with the president. During the luncheon in February of 2010, President Obama told the governors in attendance in his speech, and I quote, "to commit to adopting to Common Core standards to receive federal Title I funds," unquote. The governors were being bribed by the President of the United States to support these standards before they were even finished being written. There's so much more information available regarding Common Core that I don't have the time to present to you today. I implore you to take some time and research it on your own. Take that effort to educate yourself. It seems the fate of our children were sealed in February of 2010 when the governors were told that in order to receive federal funding, they needed to adopt this educational program. There was no consideration to how this would affect our children's ability to learn and to comprehend their lessons. In addition, there was no feedback from the educators who work with our children on the criteria for this program either. I've spent many nights sitting at the kitchen table with my daughter as she cried because she didn't understand her new math. And I was helpless to help her. I wasn't taught how to do the Common Core math. So I put it to you. Is it right that a committee of people who are not professional educators be allowed to determine what is the best form of learning for the future generations of our country? Thank you.